Hi.
Hello.
I'm here with Georgia, Middleman, and Gary Burr.
Hello.
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 How's it going, you guys?
Good. How about you?
It's fabulous.
This
Rainy.
is fabulous. We haven't seen you
I
in
know,
a
it's
while.
a rainy
It's so
day.
fabulous to see you.
I know. I used to write songs with you guys.
Yeah.
All the time.
A
Yeah.
lot for like a decade.
A lot.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of great songs.
Are you still writing?
Nope. Gave
Okay.
it all up.
All right.
Yes, I told Gary, it's not my true calling. 10 years of trying it, and now on to interviewing.
There
This
you go.
is it.
This is it. So, you guys are kind of an interesting combination because first off, you're both hit songwriters.
Mhm.
Both super sexy.
Well,
I
if you're going down that list.
mean, state the obvious.
Yeah, right.
And you guys are married
We are.
To each other.
to each other.
At that. Yeah.
It's, Exactly. So there's a lot that I want to talk about. I want to break you guys down individually first,
Okay.
and then I want to talk about the combo meal.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Do that
Break me
combo,
down,
all right.
baby. Break me
Okay.
down. You
So,
wouldn't be the first woman
Hey.
to break me down.
Hey.
Okay. So
okay. So Gary, you're originally from Connecticut,
I am.
and you were an electrician.
I was.
How
My
did
dad
you-
was an electrician, so I assumed I was going to, just take over the family business when I got old enough, to climb a 6-foot ladder. But it didn't work out.
So, did you know you loved writing songs?
I didn't know I loved writing songs, but I loved the idea of the music business because that was just an awesome time. That was like late 60s, early 70s. It was just a great time for the music business. And I just knew I wanted to do something in the music business. And I didn't want to just, run an electrical company in Connecticut. And I didn't care what it was, but that was the door that opened. And I would have been happy for any door that opened into that.
Didn't
building.
you do Woodstock?
I didn't do it, but
Weren't you there? And
I was at Woodstock.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about this because Woodstock changed your life.
Yeah, it kind of really, really did. I know that out of all the people that were there, tons of people, say that it changed their life in a spiritual way, but it really was the fork in the road for me.
Well, didn't you say, I wrote a quote that you said that you went to Woodstock and girls were clinging to the musicians like dryer sheets.
That sounds like something stupid I would say.
And you said that's what I need to
That's
do.
the life for me. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. If I could develop that sort of static cling,
You'll take it?
yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, so you're in Connecticut, you go to Woodstock, then you have, we're all over the place. Woodstock, how old were you when you went there?
17.
And you wanted to be the dryer sheets. You wanted
Yeah.
the dryer sheets on you.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Desperately.
Desperately.
Yeah.
Then you start deciding to play a sport, and you get in a serious injury.
Yeah, you know what? Because I knew I wasn't going to work for my dad, I wanted my dad to be proud of me, so I tried any sport that I was even the least bit equipped to do, and there weren't any. So the sport that seemed to involve the most aimlessly running around in circles seemed to be soccer.
Okay,
So I
that's
joined
a
the
tough
soccer
sport.
team. Not the way I did it. Literally, it
How'd
was
you do
just running around in circles, and then periodically you bend over and you pant real hard so the coach thinks he's really giving it his all.
Okay. Okay.
And the one time I actually tried to do something constructive for the team, I got my leg broken.
Okay, so you broke your leg,
That's
and now
right.
you are in a full body cast?
Yeah, it's like
Why full body?
because I broke the leg right at the top of the knee.
Ugh.
So if they didn't immobilize me from the hip down, then my leg was going to basically make the letter L at the bottom. So yeah, it was really gross. It was so, when it broke, the noise was so loud that the guys on the team ran off the field because they thought the ref had shot a gun.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
Everyone makes that face when I tell that story.
It's just terrible.
I'm immune to it, but at this point, but
You were
yeah.
probably out like a light, no?
Oh, I was not out like a light for about 6 more hours
You were-
until somebody shot me up with light out juice.
You were conscious during this.
Oh, I was conscious. It actually didn't. If I didn't move, it actually didn't hurt that bad. So I was laying in a gurney at a hospital for like 4 hours.
But this is a big moment in your life because when you're in this full body cast is when you decided to really become great at guitar.
Yeah, there
So
was
it's a
not much to
blessing
do.
in disguise.
Yeah, it was. It really was. There was nothing to do. I had tutors come to pretend to teach me things, and basically it was listening to music and playing my brother's guitar And when we had come home from Woodstock, my buddy and I had decided to start a band. And this was where I actually got to the point where I said, you know, I could do that because I wasn't much of a guitar player before then. But by the time the cast came off, I was good enough to start, you know, our first band.
How long was the cast on?
You know, I don't remember. All these years later, I feel like it was on for months, but it was probably, you know, what, 8 weeks, maybe something like that.
Okay. And
most of the beginning of my senior year. So remember back to your senior year in high school and think what it would have been like to just hear about everything that's going on and you're home in a really stinky room.
FOMO.
Yeah, it would be awful. I have no idea what you kids mean by that.
I don't know what that means.
Fear
It sounds
of
very
missing
funny.
out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You guys are like, yes.
We're like, oh yeah.
Huge. It was
Lots of FOMO.
Yeah, that was very sad. Very sad.
Okay, but this is crazy because if that wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't learn guitar. Something I think is really interesting, you must be a visualizer and you must believe in like magic and the secret because you listened to 3 records over and over again while you were like holed up. And the first one was the Pure Prairie League album. Second one was Carole King's Tapestry. And the third one was Abbey Road. Now tell me why that's amazing, all 3 of those albums.
Because they were the 3 records that I taught myself how to play guitar to. And when I grew up and became a professional musician, I was the lead singer of Pure Prairie League. I toured the world playing with Carole King. And I wrote like 3 albums with Ringo. So out of those 3 albums, those are the 3 that ended up being
your career.
You know, being my career in a tiny nutshell.
Do you think you drew it to yourself?
Because
you loved it so much?
I don't know. I'm not a big believer in that kind of a thing, but but there has to be some kind of explanation for something like that.
That's very odd.
You know,
the 3 albums that shaped you.
What I probably have done, I probably blocked out the Sound of Music album that I had and the Carpenter's Greatest Hits album. That I blocked all that out and I've reduced it down to those 3 because but literally, seriously, those were the 3 records that I learned to.
When I read that, I honestly couldn't believe it because those are no small feats. And Vince Gill, he was the one who was the lead singer of Pure Prairie League before you.
Yeah, I took his place.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because he and I got inducted into the Songwriter Hall of Fame in the same year. And I'll get that. Hold on.
Hello?
Hello.
Is that you?
No.
My phone's broken. It literally is broken. Okay, so that is crazy. You're in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, too.
Yeah. I am. That is crazy.
14 number 1s you wrote.
Yep.
What else did I read? You have 14 number 1s. You have, is it 32 top 40s, 24 top 10s? That's a lot of songs. So you and Vince got inducted at the same time to the Country Music Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that was a nice coincidence too, you know? And that's something I'm really, really proud of. I didn't think I was going to end up being a songwriter, but, you know, to be acknowledged like that, it's pretty great.
So your first song that you ever wrote became a hit for Juice Newton, right? Is that how you got to Nashville?
Yes. I wrote a song in my backyard, and I had some people in New York that were helping me, and they played it for a guy here in Nashville. And they recorded it, and that's what made me stop being an electrician. And I just, you know, I started to make, you know, enough money to be a professional songwriter, and I would just stay home, raising a couple of kids, writing songs at night.
In Connecticut?
In Connecticut.
You would just write them and send them off to Nashville?
Yeah, and I actually had like 4 hits before I, you know, just living in Connecticut, sending them through the mail.
Which hits were those?
I had the Love's Been.
That's
I
Juice
had
Newton.
That's My Job, Conway Twitty. I had Burn Like a Rocket, Billy Joe Royal, Make My Life With You, Oak Ridge Boys. Those were all while I still lived in Connecticut.
So you're like, oh my gosh, this is easy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my first song was a pop hit. My second song was a number 1 country hit.
Conway
Those were
Twitty?
like the first 2 songs I've ever recorded. And that's when I kind of said,
why am I being an electrician?
Why doesn't everybody do this?
Like, this is like no brainer.
Yeah, and so
but you just were really good, and you didn't maybe realize how great you were.
Well, but no, and then it stopped, and it went a couple of years, and then and then you get it. You think you're never going to get another song on the radio, and then you get another one, and it just it was a lucky streak that threw me into it at like 100 miles an hour, and then it calmed down, and it became the job, that it stayed for 20-something years.
So how'd you get to Nashville? You got the 4 hits.
Yeah.
In Connecticut.
In a real traditional way, I would come down. The people in Nashville that were listening to my songs and cutting them basically said to me, you should come down and write with other people. That's the weird thing. I wrote all by myself, but...
So those were all by yourself?
Yeah, so when you come to Nashville...
That's a lot of dough.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was really... Yeah. That was great.
You probably had no publishing deal either, huh?
I had a publishing deal with those guys that were helping me.
Okay.
But
especially back in the day, you were probably making serious cash. That's awesome.
But and there was, there seemed to be a lot more radio stations back then, too.
Yeah.
So I started to come down like once every couple of months to Nashville, and then it was once a month, and then it was 2 weeks out of the month, and that was when I finally said, it's time to make a move. And we initially thought about moving the whole family down here, but, things were shaky, and it ended up where it was the logical place for, my wife and I we ended up getting divorced, and I moved down here, and she stayed up in Connecticut.
Okay, and Georgia, you can chime in on this. The Nashville songwriter community, it's like unlike anything else. There's 2 rows in Nashville, 16th and 17th Street, and basically like people go and they write songs, and it's a job.
Yeah.
That's a crazy profession.
Yeah, and nowhere else in the world do they do that.
And it's
there are
like
2
a
long
real
streets
job.
of that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe all the way back in like the Brill building back in New York when it was sort of a couple of buildings that were songwriting factories. And this is that sort of a deal just spread out over a whole bunch of smaller buildings.
Can you guys believe it's your career and your profession to wake up and write something? Oh my gosh, my phone is broken. Okay, my ringer, I have this Mophie and it doesn't turn off.
Mophie, what's that?
It's an extra
FOMO,
charge.
Mophie.
FOMO and Mophie. It charges your phone, but mine's broken, so now my phone never turns on silent.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
No,
the music community thing.
Can you believe that this is our career?
But the weird thing is how easy it was for you to mail songs back and forth. When I was 10 years old, my dad brought me and my little sister to Nashville.
You wrote your first song at 10.
I did.
Wait, have it. It's called, what did you call it?
God, this girl's done her homework.
I did my homework because I thought it was the cutest thing ever. You wrote a song called There's a Rainbow in Everybody's Heart?
Yes.
Georgia, are you pure?
Back when I believed that.
There's a rainbow in everyone's heart. You wrote that at 10 years old.
Yeah, because I didn't know any better.
Now you've seen the rain clouds.
Yeah. And when we came here when I was 10 years old, all the buildings, all the publishing houses were houses. Like cute little 2-story houses or 1-story cottages. And I felt like you could just knock on the door and they let you in. I'm like, what a cool place. And sometimes you have to think it's that easy to get your first step, to take your first step. And then you find out it's almost impossible. But at least you take that step and you knock on that door and then you start finding out it's not so easy. But yeah, little by little you get there if it's meant to be like that.
And Georgia, we got to come back to you, but you also moved to New York and LA to do acting and music. I got to hear your story. Right. Okay, we're going to wrap up, Gary.
Oh.
Not yet. But so tell me what it was like.
Well, we're only up to when I'm like 20.
I know, you have so much more.
I know, it's a very long legacy. I want to throw out some of your number ones. I don't know what these were on the chart, but you had Try to Think About Elvis for Patty Loveless, Can't Be Really Gone to McGraw, To Be Loved by You, Wynonna, Too Busy Being in Love, Doug Stone, That's My Job, Conway Twitty, Watch Me, Lori Morgan, love Lori Morgan. In a Week or Two, Diamond Rio, love it. That was one of my favorites. What Mattered Most, Ty Herndon, On the Side of Angels, Nothing About Love Makes Sense, Leanna Rimes, Nobody Wants to Be Lonely, Christina Aguilera, Ricky Martin. These are just a smidgen of some of the songs you've written. A smattering.
If you will.
Yeah.
We will.
Okay.
What was the biggest song you've had?
You know what? Biggest is a, you can, I suddenly lost all ability to think. Depends on what you mean by the biggest. The most successful was probably the very first one because it was a pop hit. So that made a lot
Love's Been a Little Bit Hard on Me.
Right, Love's Been a Little Bit Hard on Me. The most impactful song I ever had was probably the Conway Twitty song that I wrote about my dad passing away because they still play that every Father's Day. And I still get tons of letters and emails from people that hear it around Father's Day and it moves them. As far as the most successful country song, it was probably What Mattered Most, the Ty Herndon song, because people people teach that song in writer classes, like up at Berkeley and places like that.
Really?
So, there's different criteria for what makes it biggest, but, I've had more than my share of ones that were pivotal.
How do you guys write? How do you write a song? Do you write what's coming to you? Do you try to fit a formula? Do you try to write for someone in particular? What has been your most successful songs? Where have they come from?
That's a really good question.
Don't suck up to her. It's just a question.
I like to read, and I pull words out of books that strike me as interesting, the way words get put together. I think you like to do this too. You like to start with a title a lot of times. For me, there was that whole analogy about Michelangelo and David, the statue. He didn't carve David, he chipped away at the stone, and then there he was. I feel like a good song idea for me, if I can see it formed before it's written, that's what I want to attack.
Okay, so you have like
an idea of how it could look, and then I start attacking it. If I can't see it, it's really hard for me to
You need a vision.
write it. I do. Because that kind of, that unfolds, the structure of it kind of unfolds. And sometimes, I also love jamming on music and having the music tell me what the lyrics should say.
Okay.
So I like to work backwards that way too. How do you do it?
Yeah, I remember when I first came to town, talking to the great Harlan Howard, the great
songwriter,
the dean of country songwriters. And, his philosophy was, if you don't have that great idea, then don't even bother sitting down. Go have lunch. Go have a drink.
Really?
But you need to have that great idea where somebody sits down and goes, I want to write a song about boom, and you can express it in like one sentence and say, this is what I want to write about. He says, those are the songs that not only mean something, but they're the easiest to write because you have a definitive point of view and you have a story that you're going to tell. If you just are writing a general I love you song or a general this or that, said it's really, really hard. And he said, and he'll spend the first half hour of the day kicking around the ideas. And if he didn't hear the idea,
okay,
it was off to
lunch.
Yeah, off to lunch.
So, can you go into a room with no idea, but kick around ideas and one come?
Sure. I like to throw out, my favorite part of a writing day is throwing out ideas and seeing what resonates with me and the co-writer. If nothing is resonating, then I like to just talk about stuff and just see if something just happens.
Especially if you're writing with an artist. Right. You want to write a song that relates to whatever they're going through in their life.
Because you want them to want to sing it.
Yeah, and it's cathartic and they want to get something out in a song.
Sometimes they don't know how to do it, but you might hear something they say and go, that's the title, or that's the idea.
Yeah, so that's really good. But when you're writing with another writer, you just kick around ideas and sometimes it's just wordplay. And a lot of times it's the same thing. You're talking and then suddenly you're saying, somebody says something and you go...
That's it.
Yeah.
That would make a song. That's a title right there.
When you said this once, but about when you pitch movie ideas, not you personally, but if a screenwriter is going to pitch to a producer, they have to say in one line what this movie is about. And if you can't say that about your song, then it's kind of hard to know what the song is. It'd be nice if you can bring it down to one big idea and it looks like this, and then you can write it.
Yeah, we were writing with somebody the other day, and the song didn't really... It was sort of about a lot of things. And it was really hard to finish because we didn't have any real clear target we were aiming for. So
it's murky water.
When a lot of lines will get you where you want to go, that's a lot harder than finding the one great one that gets you there. Okay.
It's a very interesting synopsis. Yeah. Okay, so tell me how you actually met.
Bucky in your hair.
Oh, Bucky. Lovely. Bucky's a dog, not a man.
I was going to let them wonder what Bucky was.
Gary's the only man in George's hair.
He knows.
So we know about.
What?
And the truth comes out. So how did you link up with Carole King and Ringo Starr? How did that happen? I know you visualize it because you listen to their albums all the time, but how did it actually happen?
When you get on a streak the way I did.
Because you were on a big streak in the 90s,
right? A big streak in the 90s. It was crazy.
And one after the other after the other.
Yeah, literally. It was like I write a song on Monday, and I'd turn it in at the end of the day, and by Wednesday they would tell me that somebody was cutting it, and by Friday they would say, oh, it's going to be the next single.
Wait,
and
was
that's how fast it seemed like Nashville worked back then.
Did you just get used to this?
Kind of. I mean, I like to think, because if this all happened to me later, I mean, I wasn't in my 20s, I was in my 30s and 40s. So I wasn't delusional. I mean, there was a part of me that knew that it wasn't going to always go like that. But there was, the other part of me that was saying, wouldn't it be nice if it did? Yeah. But the point is, when you have that kind of a streak, you get tons of opportunities. Everybody wants you to go somewhere and write with these people. So, in one case, really, I got to go to a writing retreat a bunch of years in a row in the middle of France at this castle. Oh. And they still have it. Every year. It was owned by Miles Copeland, who managed the Police.
Okay.
And, we go over there, and there was everybody from, famous, Ted Nugent, Carole King, Cher, Bon Jovi, all the way down to young writers. There was sort of three levels: young writers, big stars, and workmen, professional writers like us.
Okay.
And Georgia went to that castle. I went to that castle. And when I went to that castle was when I met Carole. And a couple of years after we met, she put a tour together and called me up and asked me to do it with her.
And you played guitar and sang?
Yeah, guitar, bass, and sang.
Okay, because you play a lot of instruments.
I play a lot of instruments okay, and a few instruments quite well. But also I met another guy there who turned out to be writing with Ringo, and so I got involved in that. And the next thing you know, I met so many people that opened huge opportunities for me to get to play with some amazing people. You too. The castle was
Did the castle lead you to great places?
No. I mean, the castle was great, but I made a couple of friends. I think I was more of a loner. I didn't have that same... You're a very outgoing guy, so you made a lot of friends. I was kind of to myself and a little shyer, so I didn't... The castle was a great experience, but it didn't lead me to...
Ringo?
Right. But I met some great people, that Maya Sharp, who I still love and work with. She's wonderful. Kevin Savagar. Those are the two I keep in touch with. But
it depends on who's there with you.
I wasn't there when Gary was there. I went years after Gary had gone. We didn't know each other at the time. No.
Y'all both just went to the castle separately.
Oh, no, that was in the late 90s.
Oh, yeah, we were not
castle.
a couple at all.
That sounds kind of scandalous, going to the castle.
Yeah, it's a sexual euphemism. Yeah.
Is it? Interesting.
We're storming the moat. Yeah.
That should be the name of this interview, Storming the Moat.
Okay, we got the title. You need a title.
There it is.
There it
That's
is.
right.
So now we can do the
Now we can write it.
Harlan would be proud.
Okay, so you met Carole and Ringo from then. And what did you do with Ringo? You wrote with him? You were on his albums? You toured with him?
First, they just were putting a band together to promote a new album. So they asked me to be in that band.
So you were in a band with
one of the Beatles? So I was in a band with one of the Beatles.
Were you dying?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, that's like a huge deal. You were in a band with one of the Beatles.
Every once in a while, he would do a drum thing that sounded just like the Beatles, and later he told me, he goes, I know I'm doing that because I like to see all your head spin around.
That's great.
So he great guy, and then from that we started writing together, and I'd go over to England to his place, and we would write.
So you go to his house?
Like 4 records.
You go in his house?
Yeah, we were
he let you
allowed in his house.
Did you sleep in his bed? Like his guest bed?
No, his bed.
Yeah, he's a big spooner.
He is.
Oddly enough, yes, delicate hands.
Were you trying to be cool, or were you
able
to be cool?
I didn't. You know what? I just reeked cool.
But like in your mind, are you freaking out? Though, like I don't know if I could actually be cool in this situation and perform. Like you have to write.
Well,
songs
it is. This kind of stuff happens to us a lot. Is we get put into situations where we're working with people that we adore and that's killing us, and you can't act like it is. You got to act real nice. You got to walk in and just go.
You belong there.
Hey, how you doing? Come on, shut up. We got to go to work. And inside you're just dying, going, oh my God, I just told the Beatles to shut up.
Remember when you first met Ringo and you were in a rehearsal and you called him Ring?
Oh yeah, we were on stage and we just started, and a few minutes into rehearsal, the musical director said to me, what are you singing when you get to the bridge? And I'm standing right next to Ringo. And I go, well, I'm in the chorus, I'm singing this part, but then when the bridge comes, I'm doubling Ring. And it gets real quiet, and Ringo walks up to the microphone and goes, he's known me 30 minutes, and suddenly I'm Ring. And I died. I just thought, I'm going to be handed a ticket, and they're going to say, go home.
You called him Ring.
Yeah. But
he fell in love with you.
Yeah,
Fell in love, and now you're Big Spoon.
Yeah, now we're big spooners. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously this is synopsis. I want to make sure I covered everything I want to. What has been... Oh, you were also Songwriter of the Year by ASCAP, Billboard, Nashville Songwriters Association. Like we said, you're inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame. How many people are in that? That's not even a lot of people. That's serious company to be in.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a really good question
but
to
that's
look
like
up.
Vince Gill's in that. Who else is in that you know of?
I mean, Harlan Howard, all the Stephen Foster, all the way back to just amazing.
Who inducted you? Don't celebrities invite you in, or someone important?
It used to be where you had to be inducted by someone that was in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So I was inducted by a Hall of Fame member.
Do you know their name?
Do you remember who inducted you?
Why is it I can't?
Is it Waylon? Did he do it?
Yeah, Waylon Holyfield inducted me.
Okay.
Yep.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
So out of all of your colorful career, do you have a highlight? We're going to get to Blue Sky Riders, which is y'all's band that you're in right now with Kenny Loggins.
You know what? We just finished doing something that was an incredible highlight, and that was working with the Nashville Ballet, and they choreographed, they had 3 writers, Georgia, Victoria Banks, and J.T. Harding. T.J. Hooker.
No, J.T. Harding.
J.T. Harding, and they choreographed their songs. And it was just, and it was 3 of Georgia's songs, and I was just a guitar player, but it was like such a highlight. It was this amazing, tell me about
that, Georgia, because now I'd like to move on to you. This is Georgia Middleman, enough of Gary Burr.
Well, that's the weird thing, is that the opportunities are just when people combine different art forms, and they called me and said the Nashville Ballet wants to choreograph to some of your songs.
Out of the blue?
Yes.
How'd they find your songs?
Because the Bluebird Cafe, it was an alliance between the Bluebird doing a collaboration with the ballet, and they went through different songs and a bunch of different writers at the Bluebird, and the ballet felt they picked the songs and picked the writers based on what they felt the dancers could do.
So what
what would
songs
be good
did they
stories.
pick of yours?
They picked a song called I'm In.
Which I want to talk to you about. That was a huge song for Keith Urban.
Thank you.
And also the Kinleys cut that.
Yeah, they did.
The twin
They
girls.
did, yes.
I remember that.
You remember that cut?
Yes.
Years ago.
Weren't they on the beach in the water? Or I just remember the Kinleys.
No, that was a different song. I think
But
they
that
were
was
in
Kinleys.
a bar or in a dark place.
Not a beach.
Not a beach.
So, how did that song change your life?
It changed in every way possible. Because I've been struggling my whole life as a singer-songwriter, trying to make enough money just to pay the rent and pay bills. And that song, when it came out on the radio, and it was a big song for me, and I guess I could just kind of relax for a minute, not for long.
Yeah, never for long.
Never for long. But what it did was it gave me the ability to do things that I couldn't do before, like join this band with Gary, Blue Sky Riders.
Like say no occasionally.
Yeah, because that's the thing.
And Kenny Loggins is also in that band, Blue Sky Riders, which we have to talk about next.
Definitely. And I don't know, it just, I was able to say yes to certain things that would take time, where you're not getting paid for anything for a while and you're building it, because it's a labor of love. And that lets you build really cool things that you just didn't have the time or money to do before. So that was really, it changed my life in a lot of ways.
Because you were a Texas girl.
Yep.
And then you go to New York to be an actress.
Well, I went to New York. I was an actress in high school.
Okay.
That's my dog.
Bucky wants to be on the interview. Hey, bud.
Hey. And yeah, I was an acting major in college. I went to New York University, but it was all because I was a chicken. Can I say a bad word?
Yeah.
I was a chicken shit when it came to studying music, because I'm not good at math. And when I took music theory, I really wanted to be a singer-songwriter. But when I took music theory classes, I couldn't do it.
You don't have to.
I guess
not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I focused on acting for a while. But once I was in acting, I suddenly understood performance better as a singer, and it really helped me on stage. And I knew I wanted to be a singer-songwriter, but the acting tools really helped me a lot.
So that was really helpful.
It really was. And as a songwriter, you have 3 minutes to say your point and have everything support that one title. As an actor, you have a scene, and the way we studied it was, what is your objective? What are you trying to accomplish? And do it. And anything else is frivolous, just like songwriting.
Okay.
So it's really about focusing on something and driving that point home. And I use those skills as a songwriter.
So that was not
That was
in
acting
vain.
training, not in vain.
So then you go to LA though to really like take this home though. Like you want to like do the deal.
I wanted to do a deal and I couldn't get anywhere.
Were you trying to get a record deal?
I
Or were you
was
trying to get an acting deal?
No, I didn't even try acting.
So LA, we're done with acting. We moved on.
I tried a little bit for the acting and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't break in, and my love was music. So I thought that's good that I couldn't break into that. So I visited Nashville because a friend of mine from high school lived here, and I couldn't believe when I'd go to writers' nights and see these people just like me playing their new songs, and I'm like, it was just like home, and I knew I had to move here. And again, I mean, sometimes it's good not to know how hard things are. You'll never try it.
So you got lucky right away?
No, it was very hard. No, it was very hard, but it seemed like there was a community here, and there was. You meet really cool people who are struggling just like you are, and you come up together. Exactly. And your friends, you know, it's like you start doing well, and I want to bring so-and-so with me because they wrote that song and that person liked. You got to meet, and so it's coming up with your friends. And when I got here, I thought, well, I got to write with Gary Burr. He was like king of Nashville when I moved here.
And then you really thought that?
Yeah. And I'm like, how do I get to him? And then there was no way because
you sure got to him.
I sure did, didn't I? And now he's in my hair. You know? You'd have to see the beginning of this interview to understand that. But no, but it's like, and then I found out it's not about writing with people. Like, yes, it's good to write with people better than you so that you grow and get better. But it's about finding people where you are
that you connect
and
with.
Getting good. Yeah, it's like we're doing it together. These are the people we have access to, our buddies who are really good, like, you know, what we're doing. And coming up, and then suddenly you're on the same playing field as these people you really respect and admire.
Like college, like grades, you know? Like it's kind of like a campus. Like you're a freshman class, sophomore, junior. And you really have to kind of like stick with your class from the beginning.
And you wait your turn and you learn and you just study from the people ahead of you. And you just trust that your turn will come.
That's right.
So you just have to trust that you will get your... Did you ever want to leave? Did you ever want to
I always want to leave.
This is not going to work?
This morning I stopped her at the door. She had her suitcase.
I did. I was ready to walk out. You know, wait a minute.
Sticking out of her backpack. She said, really?
I think you should stay.
You would leave all this and Bucky?
Yeah, never. That's the thing. This town breaks your heart. It's like you make headway and you're like, oh my God. And then it does something. You're like, oh, nope, back to square one. And then you're like, nope, because something else happens. And then something wonderful happens. And
like your songs at the symphony.
Yes, I couldn't have seen that happen. The Nashville Ballet. It was amazing. And that's the thing about life. You just don't know. You kind of follow your muse. You follow what feels right. And you know. And even if you can't see it, you have a gut instinct. So I want to quit all the time, but I never do because I know something's going to happen.
So you believe that it's going to work out?
Because it always has.
That's a leap of faith right there, though.
It is. It is. I don't know what that
But it has to do with you don't ever think that there's a plan B. As long as you have a plan B, the first sign that something's not working out
and you leave
is a huge sign.
Yeah.
When you don't have a plan B and it's this or nothing, when it looks like things aren't going to work out, you just kind of tell yourself, well, it's not like it can't work. It has to work out. Right. It has to work out because I don't have any alternative. So I guess this must just be a little glitch.
And there's also the letting go part, because for me, when things get so stressful, I go, that's it. Screw it. And then when I let go, that's when the next thing happens. So I don't know what that is.
How do you
let go? The next thing is usually you with your suitcase at the front door.
Right, when I'm at the front door. No, how do you let go?
How do you let go? Because I
have to remember it's about my life, not about what is expected of me or what other people. It's like people define their success by how much money can I make, how famous can I get. When I lose sight of that stuff, like when I start getting sucked into that kind of world, I forget about me. Yeah, and I forget about what feels right here, and that's how I let go. As I go, you know what? If nothing else in this music business happens for me, I still know how to write a song. I still can sing a song, and I can pick up that guitar, and I get back to that. And when I get back to that, I love it. then I remember what's important, and then other things happen.
Isn't that interesting?
I mean, look at you. I mean, things just happen.
When you're finally like walking in, I guess, faith of some sort that you're just supposed to do this, like you're saying. You kind of have to just not have fear, which is terrifying.
Exactly. Well said.
You know?
Yeah, not having fear is terrifying. Yeah.
Like you're just walking, taking
exactly
steps, but you're
right.
it's just like a black wall that you're walking into, and you pray that the sun
You kind
shines.
of just have to.
You have to trust your talent, trust yourself. The way I always feel is, you know, how you say you constantly get knocked back to square one. And I just keep reminding myself that our square one is like the coolest place to be.
It's
What
a
a
great
cool
place
square.
What a cool square one to be in the music business in
It
Nashville.
is.
You know, I'll take this. I never thought I'd get to square one. Knocking me back, that ain't so
And it's
awful.
never back to the square one you were 20 years ago. It's a new square one.
Yeah.
So it feels like, oh, I got to start all over. But it's never that because
But
you're
you
so much
forget
better.
that you're not, because you're not a freshman anymore. You're not a
you
sophomore
have
anymore.
so much success under your belt.
Huge amount of success. It's like frightening.
It's like you can't even count.
Terrifying.
You don't even know all your hits.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know?
This,
Like, name your top 10 hits,
This
Gary.
leather chair, it's actually gold with leather covering.
Name me, yours is how successful you are. Name me your top 10 biggest hits right now.
You can't.
You can't.
I couldn't name.
Can
I
I
don't know
tell
any.
you?
I don't know any like figures and numbers and things like that. Other than
Let
the
me-
fact that when I go to the ATM and I need $60, it'll give me $60. That makes me a happy man.
I was driving in the car listening to Prime Country, satellite radio on Sirius, and this song came on, and I went, oh my God, it was such a great song. I hadn't heard it. It was an old hit, but I didn't know it. And I pulled over and I went, just the way it was constructed, I went, oh, I gotta know who wrote that, and I want to write with that writer. How do I find that? It was just so inspiring to me. I pulled my car over, I Wikipedia'd the song, and it was written by Gary Burr. And I went,
Were y'all married
okay,
at this point?
yeah. And that's how many hits he's had. I
You
don't
didn't
know
even know.
half of what he's done. And I was like, write with him. I sleep with that guy.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's
You
pretty
really,
good.
you really got
I
it.
really-
That's above
Yeah.
and beyond.
Yeah.
That is, you know.
I mean, that's like some serious co-writing.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. So, Georgia, tell me the most important songs that you have written. Obviously, I'm In was huge.
That was
for
huge.
Keith Urban.
And Keith Urban is so gracious and sweet
And sexy.
very sexy.
I mean, he is. You know he is, Gary.
Come on, say
He
it.
doesn't do it for me.
Really? Who does it for you, Ringo?
Gosh, wow, different songs. I have a song called Table 32 that I wrote. That I was a waitress here in town at the Green Hills Grill, and it was a true story that happened. And I wrote it into a song, and what I like about that song is it's kind of brutal, but it's true.
What's
and
it about?
It's about this couple that sit down. I'm the waitress singing the song, and I'm tired, and it's been I worked a double shift, and this couple comes in, and he's a lot older than her. She's like in her 20s, he's in his 50s, and they sit down right when we're about to close the restaurant. I'm like, no, I was just about to get off work, and they sit down, and they're laughing, and I'm being very judgmental because I wanted to go home, and they are laughing and they're ordering wine, and you know, Anyway, I said, having a rendezvous, are we? This is interesting. And I was trying to be buddies with them. I'm their waitress. And I find out, she says, a rendezvous? No, this is my father, and we just met at this table.
Oh, that makes me want to cry.
It was my table, and they could have sat them at any table. And I was so annoyed that night. And I'm like, and that turned everything around.
Oh my gosh, that like gave me full body chills.
And that's one of my favorite songs because it's...
And people love that song. It's never been recorded, I don't think, except
Well,
you.
it has a few independent artists have cut it,
but,
and I cut it.
I mean, when she starts that song and when she plays out, people cheer.
Well, they don't know. They just think it's an older man
beloved
with
song.
a younger woman having a date, and the whole song is written to paint the picture of something funny's going on here because he's wearing a wedding ring and she isn't.
Oh.
And so the whole song talks about it looks like an affair, and they're just laughing, and he's so much older, and this waitress is just like, "Geez, guys, go get a room." And then she finds out she was completely wrong, and it's like,
What a message.
it's a true story.
Like,
So I
don't
love
judge.
that.
But the point is,
Exactly.
it's the South. They were still sleeping together. But the,
Stop it.
She was adopted, right?
yeah,
So it was
Just
okay?
kidding.
yeah,
But
legally.
that actually like brings me to another question. Do you guys feel like authentic stories and authentic songs are the best ones that you have?
Poo on authenticity.
Yeah, really. Come on.
No, that That was lucky because it was true, and that happened. But a lot of times, somebody can, if a piece of that story was true, it's our job to make it the most interesting story it can be. So as long as some part of it is real,
some part is true.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Nashville system, which is like basically, okay, let's write a pop hit country song and let's try to get it cut on Carrie Underwood? And
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either.
When McCartney and Lennon used to sit down, they used to sit down and go, let's write a pool.
What does that mean?
A pool. I'd like to buy a pool. Let's just write a great hit song so that I can buy a pool. And there's nothing wrong with that. The people at the Burr building, let's write a song that the Shirelles are going to do because I have a baby on the way and we need some money.
But also,
when did it have to be more than that?
Also, I need ear candy. I love a great story or a great song or a great melody, but sometimes I need to not think. And when I'm listening to the radio and I just hear some catchy song that's not deep,
good.
It feels great. So there's different jobs for every song.
There's a place.
I think.
And
that's a good point. Different jobs for every song.
Yeah, and the little light up-tempo radio songs, they're some of the hardest things to write.
Actually, you're right.
Easy to write a great, memorable 2.5-minute up-tempo song.
That's true.
Walking on Sunshine, you try writing that song. That's hard.
And it's so catchy and everyone loves it.
Yeah, that's always more lightning in a bottle than craft. A great writer can always sit down and write a 5-minute, lots of verses, taking somebody from Kansas to Ottawa and all their adventures along the way. But somebody that's going to capture a Love Me Do in 2.5 minutes, that's lightning that hit them. And that's rare.
Because there are so many ditties, to have one that stands out like that is really hard.
That had to have been well written, you're right.
Yeah, everybody thinks they can write a 2.5-minute radio song.
Wrong.
But only we can.
Do y'all have...
So everyone should stop.
Stop trying.
Yes. I'm thinking the course of your songs have been all styles, right?
Yeah. That's the beauty of Nashville. When they put you with different artists, you learn to... I grew up on country music, pop music, Broadway music, all kinds of stuff. And that makes you well-rounded in terms of your musical world. And so when you write with different people, you start finding this is a real R&B kind of act. They love this kind of thing. You can pull it out of your arsenal as a writer when you can adapt to different... And it makes for interesting songs. Even in the country music genre, you have R&B flavored stuff, rock stuff, pop stuff. That's cool to me.
Yeah, if we had to just keep writing the same thing every day, it'd be awful. But, you know, you can go and you can write, all different styles. That's what makes it fun.
Okay, so you guys both have amazing voices. Not only are you incredible songwriters and musicians, you'll also have amazing voices.
Thanks.
Did you guys ever think your big break in career would come as a married team? After you guys... Because you had a record deal, right?
Yeah, long time ago. Yeah.
So, did you guys think that y'all would have a record deal with... not a record... I don't know what you guys have with Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins. A band.
Yeah.
That's kind of just a surprise.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did the Kenny Loggins band happen with you three? It's called Blue Sky Riders. Because that's another, what?
And we have our own record label. We're doing it as an indie band. So how did that happen?
But it does have to do... He came to town to write with people. And writing with somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you're writing with somebody that can sing as well. And he wrote with a whole lot of people in town. But when he and I wrote together, every time we'd hit the chorus, we'd be singing together. And he'd go, oh, it's like the Everly Brothers. And it was a real treat because he was writing with other people that weren't singers equal to their writing. Okay. And then he hit us, and then he hit Georgia, and he suddenly realized that it was more than just the writing, and then boom, it was 2 parts, 3 parts, and that's when he said...
But it started with the writing.
That's when he called me. Yeah, it starts with the writing, but he was so pleasantly surprised that we all sounded so great singing together, that's what really worked for us, is the fact that before we were writers, we were lead singers of bands.
Yeah.
And harmony singers in bands. Yeah. And we've made our living sometimes singing harmonies on other people's albums. Mm-hmm. I still hear on the radio, I go, oh, that's me singing all the backgrounds on that song. So the fact that we were singers, harmony singers, when Kenny came to town, it was like, oh, we could do this one little package. And he called me up and said, I know this sounds silly, but let's make a record. And
what'd
that's
you say?
What happened. Who is this?
Kenny, who?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean that's what I said.
Kenny Rogers.
Who wouldn't
Why
make a
wouldn't
band
you?
with the Gambler?
And what's
Exactly.
And what's cool about it is Kenny took the initiative to do it. I've written with people, and when you hear their voices and you're singing along because you're trying to learn, you're trying to figure out what the parts could be once the song is done and record how it's going to be recorded. And you hear these amazing voices, but nobody's pursuing a singing career. They're just writing songs for other people. For Kenny to go, hey, let's take this to the next level was really cool because I certainly didn't expect that. I was happy to just write with you guys. Mm-hmm. But because we all sounded so good together, suddenly somebody had the idea. Kenny did. Let's record and see what
you
that
made a
did.
whole album.
Yeah.
And it's called Finally Home? Is
Yeah,
that
second album too. We just finished
our
second
second
called
album.
Why Not that we just finished, and
Why is it called Why Not?
it's one of the songs on there. It's just a good, optimistic,
Yeah.
we kind of...
Well, people were like, why would you make a second record? Why would you do that? Why not?
Yeah.
Why
it
wouldn't
felt
you?
good.
Yeah. It feels right.
We like the work, so we keep doing it.
Kenny was at a point where he was in town writing for the next record, but it was another, and this is, I'm kind of quoting him, so he would agree with this. It's another Kenny record, and he didn't know if he had anything to say for yet another Kenny record.
Okay, because he's had a lot of albums.
So he's had a lot of albums, and that's when he kind of said, if not that, what else? Well, that thing with Gary and Georgia, that excited me. Maybe that's the way that I could get my artistic yayas out without having that weight on my shoulders of, now what are you going to say?
Okay.
So that's what he did. We helped him say 2/3 of what he wanted to say.
So he was just
I'm
kind
the
of
vowels and she's the articles.
So maybe he wasn't like bored with himself because he's Kenny Loggins.
That was the most
He's not
polite
really
laugh
bored.
I've ever heard you make. Okay, shut up. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, you're the vowels and you're the nouns.
Yeah.
Apparently. And the articles, yeah. Our articles, the these and the ands.
And the
He
A's
was
and
very good.
grammar. So it was kind of like he was needing a little jolt in his creativity.
Yeah.
Because you kind of get stagnant maybe
'cause you
with
don't
yourself
know.
after a while.
Absolutely. And that's the fun thing of collaborating is you find people, you go through different people to see and you go, oh my God, that was electric with that person.
Electric.
Why not do it again?
Electricity is the goal.
In this town, you're always having that excitement and that spark, but there's so many people, so many things to do, so many places
So much
to play.
stimulation.
I've written great songs with people and had the best time, and it's a year before I ever get back around to them because we're all so busy doing things. And to have him on the phone, saying, no, come on, let's really do this. At first it's like, oh yeah, great, yeah. You're like, yeah, that's gonna happen.
Like it's not ever going to happen.
Yeah, and then boom, he was
does.
like really
He followed
adamant
through.
about it, and he followed through.
Keith, what's his name?
Urban?
No.
Keith Urban.
Mick Jagger and Keith Richards.
Oh.
They were interviewing Keith Richards on some TV show. And they said, tell me about your collaboration with Mick. And he said, my job, I can't speak British. My job is to turn Mick on. Like, I do things that make him go, ooh, let's try this. And I think that's my job, too. When I enter a collaboration of any kind, my job is to bring something fun and cool.
Well, you
and
walk
exciting.
in, girl, and everyone's turned on. I mean, you already got it going for yourself.
read that.
You weren't going there, I was going there.
Somebody had to.
So, I mean, you're starting off on the right foot. So, musically turned on is what you're talking about.
Exactly. Musically, yes.
For the most part.
But I mean, if the other happens, you can't help it. It's what God gave
It's
you.
the what it is.
It's the what it is.
It's a what it is.
So, do you guys go on a tour bus with Kenny Loggins? Mm-hmm. What is life living with him like?
When we on a tour bus, we're all in our underwear and
He wears
Jammies.
what kind of
Jammies.
underwear is everyone wearing?
we can't tell that.
That's right.
Are you wearing your thong running around the bus?
No, but I am.
You are, Gary. I knew you.
Not even mine, hers.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are some freaky shit.
Yeah, we're freaky. No, you know what? It's just really fun. We they route the tour and we'll be in Colorado going from town to town to town. Some days you wake up and you've got like a 2-hour ride and you're in the next place and you're hanging out all day. And then sometimes, you wake up and you go, oh God, we're going to be on the bus for 11 hours.
Everyone thinks riding the bus is so sexy. Like it's so sexy. Like there's so much like, back in the days, like hooking up and drugs and alcohol and like flashy
God, I was
stuff.
never in that. I missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I guess I did
Well,
too.
So now it's just
Different
Gary
now.
and his thong.
Yeah,
That's all we got.
and a TV that freezes every time the movie starts getting good.
So is it sexy on the road?
No. All you can do is hope that when the bus stops, you're near a mall. That's the best thing I can hope for is that there's a place to eat in walking distance, right?
Yeah, we have very low expectations. Please give us a Ruby Tuesdays and a Spencer's Gifts.
Oh, Spencer's.
Sorry, I was pulling.
Wow.
I was reaching into the past.
What are you, 100?
I like Spencer's. They got some good stuff.
Nothing wrong. They got everything. A little of everything.
Okay. A little of everything.
You need a novelty T-shirt. You need an ashtray.
So they still have Spencer's?
Yeah, dog. It's happening. So, Gary, I've heard you say this before, that you guys probably write songs many days out of the week. And y'all have done this for years.
Yeah.
So, obviously, not every song you've written has been cut by an artist, which cut means recorded. So, you said you have all these orphan songs that are just like all these amazing songs that at one point, a lot of them sparked electricity in you and you loved, but they just have no home.
Right.
What happens with those and how does that make you feel?
Well, the good thing is because I can sing or you can sing, if I have an orphan song like that and I really love it that much, it's my job to record it and go perform it and get audience feedback. And if I get enough, if certain songs, I try them out when I do solo shows, and if certain songs resonate, that's what happened with Table 32. I was playing it out and I get emails that, oh, we know that song, and they played on the radio in Ireland and London. I have no idea how they got their hands on it, but it's like when you find what resonates, then it's my job to collect those songs and make a record. And it's my job to continue my passion. If no one else is going to buy it or record it, then it's my job to, if it's worth doing, if I love it that much, I got to get it out there.
So you feel like you owe it to the song.
I do. And not every song's worthy of that, but you find out. I mean,
Yeah, you play songs you're excited about and you play them. You get a great reaction, so you pull it out periodically, or you get try it 2 or 3 times and don't get the reaction. You say to yourself,
okay,
I guess, I wrote a song 15 years ago that I thought was a good piece of work. I thought it really was an important song for me to have written. And it just sat there. But
was it called Love Does?
No. It's a song called Younger. And I would play it. And every time I would play it, whoever I played it for would go crazy for it. And I played it in New York at a show with a writer, a friend of mine named Billy Mann, probably 10 years ago. And he loved it. Oh, this is great. And I went my way, he went his way. He climbs in the business, I climb in the business.
And he's a big wig.
And a couple of, last year, he calls me up and says, I know that I don't own this song, I don't have anything to do with this song, but I love this song. So I pitched this song, and Joe Cocker recorded the song. And it's on his last album, right before he died. It's one of the last songs he recorded.
Wow. Because it just meant something to Billy.
It meant something to him,
right.
And I wrote it 15 years ago, and now it's on the last Joe Cocker record, this beautiful, definitive version of it that I'm really proud of. And now that is out there in the universe, and who knows who will hear that.
Exactly.
It got a life.
If you didn't perform it, Billy wouldn't have heard it, and that's why it's our job to get things out there. Nobody will hear it if we keep it in our closet.
We have a giant closet full of this stuff, the way other people have sweaters. Every once in a while, you gotta rotate them and bring them out
and try them out.
And try them out, because you never know. They're not cottage cheese. There's no expiration date.
Right. And how crazy though that that story, for instance, Billy, he's obviously so successful and to be so non-competitive that he could have
pitched his own song.
That he would pitch a song of yours just because he believes in music so much.
That's right.
That's really special. That kind of community is really special. That you believe in songs even if they're not yours.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
I mean, I don't care for any of his songs, but he did like mine, and that
is what matters.
Is really what matters. It just proves that his taste and my taste are equally good.
So that story sounds magical, which makes me wonder, do you guys believe in magic?
I do. I mean, I believe you have to prepare for the magic. I believe, I met somebody recently who said, I really want to be a singer. I said, what are you doing about it? She goes, nothing. I just want to be discovered. I go, so what are you doing about it? She's like, well, nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, then you're not going to be discovered. You have to let people hear you. You have to write songs and get it out there for people to experience. Otherwise, you're not doing your job. Once you do that as a songwriter or performer, then magic happens. You attract it, but you have to put it out there.
You have to do the work.
You have to.
Yeah.
I understand weird things happen, but it happens because somebody put it out there. If you hadn't played it that night, you wouldn't be sitting with a Joe Cocker record on that shelf right now.
Right.
You just pulled it out. I mean, you have to prepare for the
magic. So you guys believe in putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
you have to.
I think you have to.
A lot of what you think and what from the outside looks like magic and lightning really, yeah, it's lightning, but we spent years building the big metal pole.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's true. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way of putting it.
It is. It's genius.
Well, you a writer?
I mean, you should be like in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Why not?
The country
I
phrase.
love that. Building the pole. That's what we need to do. That's exactly what we...
Poles, thongs.
Sure.
It all comes back to that.
I see what the real underlying tones are of this relationship.
See where this is going?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else y'all need me to know? Like, tell me something crazy, just a wild story that someone would freak out if they heard.
Really? Did they freak out?
Or just
I
be
was his
super
waitress.
Yeah, she used to wait on me at the Green Hills
We weren't
Grill.
dating. We didn't know each other.
And I used to always go there.
Is that how y'all met?
Originally, I used to go there and try to get seated in her section where she would
You
work.
had the hots for her for a long
Because she
time.
was just like the cutest thing. And then I found out that she was like a writer and a singer in town. And I guess we had
He's
that
like,
in
ooh,
common.
stay away
So
from
we
her.
would, we would have that to talk about in common. And then she got a record deal and they did hook her up to write with me.
Remember when I said I don't know if I told you today, when I said I was at my publishing office, I got my first deal, and they said, who do you want to write with? And I said, Gary Burr. I want to write with Gary Burr. And they're like, well, that's not going to happen. And then I got a record deal. So again, I was doing the work. I was writing the songs, and I got a record deal. And suddenly I'm in a position where he might want to write with me because he might get on my record if we write the right song. So that's building the pole to your. And I wanted to write with Gary. I'm really all about this pole.
You
thing.
love that pole.
I really do.
But how crazy, though, that you kind of had a vision board. Like, you had your sights on
that's
Gary.
Right.
Who knows in terms of
Professionally
romance.
speaking,
Professionally.
Yeah. And
Well,
then
he
for
was-
years and years and years, every time I was single, she was, I'd run into her, and the first thing out of her mouth was always, "Oh, I want you to see my new boyfriend. Here, look at
Yeah, I wanted to meet him.
Look at this
But
guy."
I didn't know he was
Oh.
interested. And a really cool thing happened. I got out of a long-term relationship, and I ran into Gary at a party. And he said, how's it going? I said, with my boyfriend. I said, we broke up. And he said, really? And he said, what's wrong? And I said, I always left the window open. I never could quite commit 100% to anybody I've been with because I have this open window, and I want to shut it one day. But he said, well, you will when you find the right person. And I
Getting
said,
chills again.
I hope so. And that was 10 years ago.
Did you guys write Open Window?
No, great idea.
You gotta
Caroline.
write that.
It's a great idea.
Thanks.
That's really good.
I know. See, there's your vision.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. I used to be a songwriter. I wrote with people like Gary Burr and Georgia Middleman once in my life.
That's really good.
That's awesome.
And he gave me great advice. And little did I know we were going to date a few years after that.
So how'd you put the moves on? When did you guys know you loved each other?
When did you know what? I found myself single. I was out of a relationship and decided to be proactive about it. And I sent her a message saying, I'm not looking to write. I'm not looking to work.
You were up front.
Totally
I want
upfront.
to take you out, I want to take you out to dinner if you're not seeing anybody. And
I said,
perfectly
I am.
You're seeing
timing.
someone?
I was seeing somebody, and I went, but I was like, oh my God.
Because were you
Burr.
excited?
Oh my God, I had a crush on him
Oh, come
forever.
on. Who wouldn't be?
But I didn't know he liked me. I just knew I liked
So
him.
you
and I
immediately
thought,
had to break up with your boyfriend.
well, I didn't break up with him, but I emailed Karen and said, where the hell were you 6 months ago when I was single? And I was just flirting, but I couldn't believe it. And then he laid the big bomb. And the guys out there, if you like a girl who's unavailable, here's what you do.
What was the big bomb?
He said, damn, I should have asked when you were waiting tables 20 years ago. I should have asked you then. And that meant he had
liked
his
you
eye
for
on
a
me all that time, and I had no
20
idea.
years?
I like her long time.
You guys have had like this love tension for 20 years?
And then
Yeah.
try dating a guy. It was a brand new relationship I was with. Try
you gotta
dating a guy
break
with
up.
that in your head.
And you looked
Oh,
at
I know how you did.
So you had to break up. How long were you with him before you broke
2
up?
more weeks.
And then you said, peace out. You're like, Gary, I'm available. Did
we
y'all
had
make
only
out?
dated for 4 weeks, me and this other guy. It's not like we were long term or anything.
When you guys got together, did y'all make out first night?
The first night I got sick to my stomach, and
You
Gary.
were nervous.
I was so nervous. And he said, why are you sick? Why do you feel bad? And I said, because I'm afraid of what's coming next. And he said, you mean this? And he leaned over and kissed me.
Then she threw up all over the counter.
All over the
Gary,
counter.
that was smooth. And then y'all are together ever since?
Pretty much inseparable, like
Like,
a stripper on a pole.
Yeah.
Pole again, man. You guys are like the Beyonce and Jay-Z of the Nashville community.
Right? Not that Beyonce and Jay-Z. Beyonce Silverstein and Jay-Z Schwartzman.
Yeah, we're like them.
We are just like them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are. Y'all are a power couple.
Thanks.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's so fun. You know, at night we'll, nothing on TV. Let's go downstairs, write a song.
Is that what y'all do?
No, but it sounds good, doesn't it?
Good.
Doesn't it sound like we're professional?
Yeah. Okay, well, you are professional.
No, we do that. We'll be sitting upstairs and, hey, let's go run to the piano and write a song.
It's a fun life.
We just did a duo album together.
Yeah, we're Middleman Burr. We're a duo now.
Middleman Burr. We're doing tours and shows and things like that.
So you're Middleman Burr, you're Blue Sky Riders, you're individually Georgia Middleman and Gary Burr.
And we just did a show a couple months ago where we backed up Carole King. We're her band when she wants to just do a trio.
For her. No.
Yeah.
And who are we going to back up coming up?
Can't say.
Yeah, okay.
You never know.
There's someone on the horizon. Everyone be looking. Yeah. Can you guys believe that this is your life? Like, is this what you dreamed it would be?
Right?
But you can truly say you love your life. Like you're living your
passion.
It's
terrific. Yeah, it's
fun. Life should be fun.
So many people think you just have to wake up and get like a regular job, like an electrician. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, do a career path. But really, don't you think if you follow your passion, you can make a living in life?
If you're good at it.
You have to be
good. Some people aren't. That's tricky. Yeah, and they can spend. I remember it killed me. I ran into a guy. He was in an audience, and he said, "How did you do this? How did you get to do this for a living?" And that's a big question. I don't know. We all have different paths. But he said, I've got this family. I can't do what I really want to do. And I'm like, ugh. He chose family, which is like the best choice you can make. And he's resentful. And I'm like, so if people are electricians or they do a day job 9 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that as long as they can exercise their passion.
True.
Sometimes the 9 to 5 is a passion, but if it's not, as long as they have an outlet for the other stuff, it doesn't have to be the career.
That's what I did.
It can just be fun as long as you have both.
Put the kids to bed and go downstairs and write songs.
It was in you.
That was my out that was going to save me for and. So
you had to do it.
Yeah, I had to do it, but
you
the
gotta
kids
have both.
were
you gotta have
the kids were there and taken care of and loved and secure and I knew that the way to make them very safe and secure is to work as hard as I could at the lottery business. No one, you don't win the lottery being an electrician.
Yeah.
You can win the lottery being a songwriter. And that's luckily what happened to me, and I was able to do it full time and stay in the lottery business.
My favorite movie in the world is Mr. Holland's Opus. Have you seen it?
Yes.
He was just a music teacher, and he affected all these kids, and he really wanted to be a star, and he wanted to get his music out to the masses, and he never did, and he felt like a failure. And then he sees these kids come back and show him what they did for their lives, and it's like...
It's because he inspired them.
He did, and he didn't think he was worth anything, but those are the kind of stories that resonate with me as real people, and not... those stars. I like real stories. That's where life is. And when I was a waitress and that happened to me at Table 32 with that couple, I went, I'm supposed to be a waitress. Stop beating yourself up for not being in the music business.
Incredible inspiration.
Exactly. That's life. And if you don't have life, what good is music and writing songs? None of that matters. You got to experience life. And people forget that. And they think, I got to be a star. I got to be... No, you don't. Go experience life, and maybe you'll accidentally become a star because you're doing all the right things. Or not, and who cares if you don't?
Exercising your passion.
Yeah, it doesn't get better
than that. You gotta do it. Even if it's not professionally, you gotta exercise your passion somewhere. You have to. Because if you don't, it will eat you alive.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I like to end my podcast with a segment called Leave Your Light. So leave me inspiration.
Oh, I like that.
I want separate inspiration for both.
Okay. Leave Your Light, is that what it's called? Wow. Okay, let me think. Do you have one yet?
Do I have one?
Yeah, just some inspiration. Some inspiration that you have lived by or that's encouraged you or helped you or that...
Oh, yeah. Yes, here's mine. I have a saying. Brian Andreas is an artist. He does these really cool sculpture drawings and paints them, and he puts these really cool sayings, and it's hanging in our bathroom. But it says... It's hardest to love the ordinary things, she said, but we get lots of opportunities to practice. And for me, it's everyday life that people want bigger. They want more. And it's like when you can love your everyday life, that's the most you could ever get, and that feeds everything about your life. That feeds your creativity and your job, and it seeps that love of the little ordinary things, feeds and makes a great life.
And then, like you said, it brings opportunities to
does.
you.
It attracts wonderful things. That's right.
Love that.
I love that too.
Okay,
You're it.
Top that, Gary Burr.
Yeah.
I can't top that.
Yes, you
That's
have to.
unbelievable.
Come
I have
on.
to.
You have to add, at least accentuate.
I have to
on.
accentuate.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you even know what that word means?
Not really.
I don't know if I do either.
Something to do with hair
hoping
color,
someone
I
could tell
think.
me. Accentuate.
Sounds good.
You know, I always told my kids that if you just try to be the best you can be at whatever you choose to be, and you can, you know, in a funny way, you can get away with murder. No matter what you do for a living, if you make yourself indispensable, and if you make yourself precious to someone, then they, you know, you get cut a lot of slack. You get, when I was an electrician, I tried to be the best one I could be, because when I would go to my boss and say, I need to go to New York City and do demos for my other job, he would let me gladly, because I was valuable to him, and I was you know, he respected how hard I worked when I was there, and you know, that's what I tried to tell the kids, is you just try to be the best you can be, because like Joe DiMaggio said, you know, somebody asked him, he was hurt and he was older, and you asked him why he, you know, ran so far to get a ball when he could have just let it bounce and let the other guy get it. And he said, you know, there could be some kid in the stands, and this is his only time he's ever going to see me play, and I want him to see me, I want him to remember me being, you know, great and trying.
Wow. And,
you know, so that's the attitude that I've always had. I try to write every song great, because somebody out there that may be the only song of mine they ever hear.
So you don't cut corners or half-ass.
No, I never do, and I think every song deserves maximum attention, because there are songs that I didn't think, you know, when you finish a song, sometimes you think, oh, this is amazing. And sometimes I literally think, well, it's a song. Mm-hmm. But I'm not the best judge, because some of those songs that I thought, I don't know. I mean, it's a song, got recorded and ended up being a song that some family buried somebody to. And they've written me and told me, my father just died and we played such and such a song at his funeral. And I'm saying to myself, I didn't think that was all that great when I wrote it.
But it meant something to someone else.
Apparently I didn't write it for me.
You were just the vehicle that got it out there.
Yeah. So I know that's a whole bunch of different, you know.
No, but you're basically saying,
that's a whole bunch of candles, but put them together and
do
maybe
whatever
keep the
you're
ship
doing.
off the rocks.
Do whatever you're doing. Do it 100%.
Yeah.
Because also you attract that in other people. You know, if I work as hard, if I see you working so hard, it's like it attracts that in other people. We all want to be like that.
That's so true.
There you go.
Okay. Georgia Middleman and Gary Burr, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Caroline.